She's a barrel racing champion, rodeo-raised Australian native, and now a country music artist whose story blends music, motherhood, and a lifelong connection to the Western way of life. Shea Fisher joins me this morning to talk about her new single, Ow and Cowboy. Howdy.
Oh my gosh, I love it. You sound just like a cowgirl.
You are so cool. You do so many cool things.
I appreciate it. You're very sweet. I like to stay busy, I will say.
You certainly do. So what was it like? So you were actually born in Australia. You were raised on a ranch. Did that kind of help infuse, well, I would imagine it would, that's almost a rhetorical question. Your love for rodeo and then also for country music.
Yeah, so my parents are both Australian champion rodeo athletes. So literally as long as I can remember, I've been on the back of a horse. And I kind of had an interesting upbringing because we did live on a ranch, but I was 10 minutes from some of the most beautiful beaches in the world in Australia. So I would juggle this like cowgirl, beach girl thing, but it was a beautiful place to grow up. But I did live in the US when I was younger. For 2 years, my dad rode bulls on the PBR circuit. So I got to experience New Mexico ranch life. So I feel like I've kind of seen a little bit of everything.
Right. So are rodeos as big of a deal as they are here in the States, particularly in Texas? Is that something that you see a lot of in Australia?
We have rodeo, and rodeo is getting even bigger now, but it's not to the extent it is here. That's why my dad came to the US and rode bulls here, just because the prize money was so much bigger. And growing up in Australia, I definitely knew which cowboys were making the national finals rodeo, and we follow the American circuit even in Australia as rodeo fans.
Now, you know, my colleague Erin, she's in Australia right now.
I
so
know,
that's
I heard
so
that.
Cool.
That is really
All right,
cool.
So you were a barrel racing champion, and so what was it that finally led you to music?
Yeah. That's a great question. So growing up in rodeo, obviously country music and rodeo go hand in hand. And you would be at rodeos hearing country music and driving many, many miles down the road listening to the 90s country in the car.
Oh, girl, that was me.
That was windows down, wind in the hair. That was when I fell in love. And I just started singing the national anthem at rodeos, a little bit like Reba's story. And then one thing led to another. I was brave and I knocked on a tour bus door one day at a rodeo. There was a big country act and I was like, can I sing as your support? And his support act got sick and he's like, sure. And one thing led to another. He put me on stage 2 hours before. There was 2 people in the crowd and they were both my parents. But I performed like there was 10,000 people.
I love it.
And then he asked my parents, he said, hey, can she join my Australian tour? And literally I'm 15 years old, having no clue what I'm doing. I was a cowgirl on an Australian tour, wrote my first album, and then we self-paid for it, my parents and my manager. And 16, I signed a record deal with a major label and was like, okay. They say fake it till you make it, so now I'm gonna have to try and figure out what I'm doing. But yeah, it was.
You may be the coolest person I've ever met.
Oh my gosh, you're hilarious.
I mean, seriously,
Well,
you knock on
thank
a door and bam, you're a country music star. But at the same time, please, I understand it took a lot of work.
Oh my gosh.
Things continue to get hectic because you're living in Texas now.
Yeah.
You've got kids. You're balancing a lot. You have other businesses. How are you able to do it all?
Well, a lot of coffee.
Okay.
That too. I have a good support system. So I have people around me that really are able to help and believe in me. My family's very supportive. I mean, my husband's a full-time rodeo athlete, so he's gone for 3 months of the year. So with the kids and with what I do, it's definitely busy. But I knew, like, even growing up in rodeo with music, like, I faced a lot of hard times, like you said, a lot of setbacks. But if you want something hard enough and bad enough, you're going to work for it. And I say a lot of late nights because when the kids are home, I want to be present with them in the afternoons, and then I just work late. I mean, I don't run on much sleep, but I love the challenge of building these brands and businesses. I definitely lost my identity for a while. When I took a break from music, I had a record deal in Nashville, was doing wonderful, and then my record label shut down.
Oh man.
So it was a hard pill to swallow. I felt like that opportunity was taken from me and I didn't know if I'd get it back. But I ended up finding my identity wasn't in #1 songs, it was in who I was as a person. And then I really was like, no, I want to get back into music and I'm going to figure out how to do it.
And you certainly are. And in spades, you worked with Walker Hayes and wrote this great song, the single Ow and Cowboy. It's really fun and it's energetic. What kind of inspired the song?
Well, when you write with Walker, you just get so much inspiration.
And didn't you write it in like an hour?
Yes. I mean, Walker is just like the funnest hang. And he's the most family man you'll ever meet, which I love. You could have a beer with Walker and then he'd be talking about his family the whole time. It was wonderful, but we wrote the entire melody and put it down on track and then wrote the lyrics. And it came about because he was asking me, what is it about cowboys that you find sexy? And I started explaining the swagger and all the different things, and he's like, well, isn't isn't there an owl in Cowgirl as well?
Yeah.
And I was like,
I love
that's
it.
the song. And yeah, he helped co-produce it as well, him and his guitarist. So yeah.
All right,
I love
fantastic.
writing with him.
Thank you so much for being here. This
my
has been
gosh.
so much fun. If you want to learn all about Shea's music careers and other ventures, you can go to her website, which is sheafisher.com, and check it out. She is here now with her latest single, Owl in Cowboy.
Ooh, you got that swagger, strutting around like you just rode a red rock. Ooh, you look like danger, smirking under your black hat coat. I say, whoa, whoa, yeah, you put the owl in cowboy. Ooh, something about them Wranglers, held up by that buckle, I bet you won. Smooth, sweet talking stranger, well, come on, show me how they two-step where you come from. I say, whoa, whoa, yeah, you put the owl in cowboy. Let's ride off in the sunset like an old western movie. Rock me in your wild, wild world. Let's sleep under the stars in the flatbed of your dually, and I'll wake up in your button-down shirt, showing you how I put the owl in cowgirl. Ooh, the mouth hand shoot, stealing my breath like a liquor store stick up. Ooh, my stretch skin boots, there's a little dust, I'm ready for us to kick up. I say, whoa, whoa, yeah, you put the owl in cowboy. The owl in cowboy. Let's ride off in the sunset like an old western movie. Rock me in your wild, wild world. Let's sleep under the stars in the flatbed of your dually, and I'll wake up in your button-down shirt, showing you how I put the owl in cowgirl. You know it. Here we go.